Toku Janaito.
Janaito.
All right, every pony, I see. Hi, everyone. Marcos, the Dream Bomb Coast here, Satsu, with another live podcast. Oh yeah, Toku Janaito is a live podcast with a live audience. Let's see who else we have here. Liz.
Hi, my name is Dream, but I'm calling myself Liz, and because that's a weird name, but my name is in the title of the channel, so in case you forget, that's me.
What the?
Hi, I'm not the Marcos and Dream Bomb and Marcos, but
he's technically the ant. He's the ant.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. I wanted to put this together with all of us here because, especially Liz, since for the past month or two, we've been working on actually, Dream Bomb as a whole, on some old Toku projects. And one thing that really caught my attention was Ultra Q, Showa Rider stuff, Ichigo, even older stuff like Moonlight Mask or Gekiko Kamen, something like that. And last night, I actually had the privilege to talk to Monstrosity's Tokusatsu vlog, Professor Kaiju, a few other Kaiju YouTubers. And the more we were talking, or the more I was listening in, because I didn't say much, the more I was listening in, I grew this appreciation. So today, I was like, you know what? I want to talk about some old Toku stuff. I was one of those naive people who was like, you know what? I don't want to watch anything before like Kuga. I don't want to watch anything before the year 2000. It's old. It's very corny. It's what the heck is this? I grew out of Power Rangers. I don't want to watch this stuff. It's in black and white, not even in color. 4:3 ratio. What the heck is this? But then as I grew older, as I actually started watching it, because watching is a big experience. You guys should actually try if you're able to. Watching through all this stuff, and especially with the latest Ultra Q video, I just got this newfound appreciation of man, a lot of work went into this. And I might even say a lot more work than you might expect today, was that there was more practical effects. There was more guys in suits, more pyrotechnics, and a lot of those acrobatics that are done in the suit, that's very respectable, especially Godzilla movies. And Ultraman too, Tsuburaya knew a lot about that stuff. So yeah, that's just my little thing about older and experience and stuff. Okay, so I wanted Liz here too because she knows so much more about the older Toku stuff, and I'm sure she would help. And I'm sure she could help me open my eyes a bit more and teach me more a bit about this newfound appreciation. And I know, Emmer Jason, you like that stuff too, and Yoonie, you told me you watched Scheider, I think. And I want to learn, which is why I have all of you here. I want to know more about this stuff. So, alright Liz, tell me about your black and white Tokusatsu appreciation.
Well, I've been watching I've been watching a little bit of a National Kid on the Tokusatsu channel.
National Kid, yes.
The Toei Hero channel, and I understand it's one big advertisement for the national brand and everything, but I realized that that's basically what every single television especially during the 50s, they were driven by advertisements and stuff, and National Kid I found out was actually the most expensive show just generally produced in Japan, and I don't think that was a title that wasn't usurped until Ultra Q. Huh. And I just find it really cool. I know that National Kid kind of turned it into a bit of a joke with one of the English dubs of it, where it was spoofed on this Mystery Science Theater 3000. But besides that, it's pretty cool to watch. Just very much a precursor to the Showa Kamen Rider and stuff. It's just kind of cool.
National Kid, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, ever since Toei Tokusatsu World, the channel came out, as much as we rag on it for only uploading in 240p videos and stuff like that, there's still this passion that you can see people have in that these are available worldwide for the most part. There's some that you can't watch in certain places, but for the most part, you have hundreds of videos that you can watch that are from old Toku. And a lot of these I didn't even know existed. So I'm really happy to see all this stuff that I didn't know, and some that some people might even consider was lost to time and that we would never see again. I think they had Kabutak, or no, they had something similar to Kabutak there. I don't remember the name off the top of my head.
Robocon.
Yeah, Robocon.
Yeah.
Man, seeing all that stuff, at first I was like, was this Kabutok? No, wait, that's a different show? There was a whole different show like this? People can just dive into this rabbit hole of like, wow, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this before. When I was first getting into Tokusatsu, when I first watched Gokaiger, I didn't know what a Kamen Raider was. So when I saw them in like Superhero Tyson, I was like, whoa, that looks really cool. I want to see that. And then in Tyson Z, when like Metal Heroes were a big part of it, I was like, whoa, Metal Heroes? I want to see what that is too. And now I'm getting that same mindset here with Toei Tokusatsu World and that, whoa, National Kid? What? I want to see that. Jan Person's one of them. Robot Detective was another one. And yeah, there's just so much that I really, really like to see that is out there now.
So I am a youngling, which translates to I have not seen much Showa. And so I feel like the oldest, like, classic Toku I've seen is probably a lot of other people have seen, which is Godzilla. Me going back to watch the first Godzilla is like something that's really, really meaningful to me because I really like kaijus and like all the other stuff, and it kind of evolved from that.
So I think this is like a topic I wanted to talk about like during this stream. I'm wondering like what is the perfect Showa Tokusatsu to really show people, and I'm like really thinking of like Gavan. Space Sheriff Gavan. Like I feel like in terms of it being like it's kind of like the transition period from old Tokusatsu to new Tokusatsu, where like the special effects are like gotten a little bit better, like that they have more experience just doing the special effects and just more like attaining their craft more better. Yeah. But like it still has that kind of Showa aesthetic to it, and I feel like that's kind of the same with like Bioman and stuff, where it's very much like that in between period where it's like introducing so much new stuff, like story wise and like visually, but it still has those like qualities that would make it like totally a Showa show. Anyhow,
I totally get what you mean, Liz. When I was taking some classes on like film editing and stuff, one project we had to work on was like find an old movie and talk about how it relates to the modern day. So I chose Young Frankenstein, and I was blown away by like how good it looked for being such an old movie. And one thing I pointed out the most, which was what my paper was mostly about, was that it looks like it could be a modern film just with the black and white filter. And I think that's what I get a lot from watching older shows, and that whether they're corny or anything, I just see it through like modern eyes, and that, wow, this looks really nice. If this was filmed in the modern day, it would look so gorgeous, but as it is now, it's still really beautiful. And when I started looking into Metal Heroes, Gavan, Sherivan, Strider, those three they're gorgeous, even today. And especially back then, the particle effects, the suits, like the action, the stories, admittedly it's a little outdated in terms of views, but still, there's some pretty cool things you could watch from older Toku. Out of the Metal Heroes 2, something that pops into my mind, Jiraiya was one I really enjoyed because they had a lot of stunt work going up buildings, and Jiraiya did a lot of that. I like how Jiraiya's suit looks a little like mismatched, but I think that's exactly what they were going for, and it was great. I love seeing that. Jaspion was another one. Jan Person, I just adore with all my heart. And I really like that you brought up Gavan and other Metal Heroes like that, because that's definitely something I could introduce to someone if they wanted to get into Metal Heroes. I think Godzilla would be another nice one. Shin Godzilla might be the easiest thing for like modern viewers. Yeah, definitely. It's something I enjoyed in the theaters, but if I wanted to watch older Godzilla, maybe like the original Godzilla still is really good to this day.
All the practical effects in that movie still hold up, and I love all the sets, the pyrotechnics and everything. It's just really, really good.
Yeah. What I really love about the original Godzilla is that, like, it has this sort of style within the era of the 1950s, like Japanese cinema, in that it could also transition the viewer into watching, like, other Japanese cinema of the time. Like, I watched this one movie called Tokyo Story by Yasujiro Ozu, and I really, really love Tokyo Story, and I think everybody should watch it. And, like, it's one of the saddest movies I've ever seen, but it's like it totally has like it. You could tell like from Godzilla to this movie, like they're within the time, but it's like tastefully within the time, and I just really appreciate these movies, and to me it's kind of like a general sense of how Tokusatsu is that important, and how Tokusatsu is like showing just what movies are, and like how television works, like, and the progression of it all, like within their eras, and it's like really cool.
I haven't gone outside of the Tokusatsu Japanese media yet, like other J dramas, other than like Tokusatsu Gaga. I don't even know if that counts, but still, I can see what you're getting at, Liz. Godzilla movies, especially. I want to go back and see, like, what was the environment during this time? What were people doing around here? What brought up to Godzilla? And of course, we kind of know the nuclear bombs and stuff, and Godzilla is supposed to be this allegory on and a message about that stuff. But there's other things that go around that time too. And when you were showing me that script to History of Showa Kamen Rider Ichigo, I knew nothing about any of that. Like even in my own personal research, I got absolutely nothing other than Ichigo was the first writer. Thank you, Kamen Rider Wiki. So other than that, I was really interested in seeing, like, Ichigo might have been influenced by this other movie and the politics that are going around this time, or how maybe Ishinomori was trying to work on something and then it evolved into this. And I was super interested in the creation of Ichigo in the first place, because as much as we think, oh, Toei has like 1 year to make Kamen Rider, where's more Kamen Rider? Why isn't it coming out faster? There's a lot of work that goes into modern Kamen Rider, but there was so much going behind the scenes back then. For a little history lesson, when Metal Heroes was coming out, Kamen Rider was on hiatus, and it was almost abrupt, but they still had a little less time than usual to work on Metal Heroes. And what came out of it, Gaman coming out of it, and going on for years, it's such a testament to how hardworking people are back then, and even today. Super Riot Productions was one I wanted to bring up a lot, because it doesn't seem like they changed up a lot of their formulas and what they do, and that is a testament to how good their work is. In Ultra Q, you can see in the thumbnail here that there's Pigmon on the left, or Garamon as he is in Ultra Q. It's a high quality picture, and it looks beautiful. That suit, it looks beautiful. I love it. And that background they're using, it's a set that they had to build, and they had to work on it for so long and only get 2 minutes of footage for it. It is so much work into those 2 minutes, and I love every second of it.
That picture projects like Mom said it's my tournament on the Xbox. Energy.
Yeah. I want to also mention, on that note, that if you want to see some of the best miniature work, in all of Tokusatsu, I do want everybody to, point to first and the third episodes of our Ultra Q, where they have, exact replicas of, the mines and, the cave that the monster, the slime monster in episode 3, comes out of, and it's, really cool, and it's just, oh man, and by the way, that's the only episode 3 that the English dub that we talked about in Toku trivia time. That's the only episode that apparently exists right now.
Yeah, I think one company or one group of people has a little bit more to the English dub, but they haven't released it as far as I know, and as far as my research went. Oh, another thing about Ultra Q that I wanted to bring up. In one of the episodes, I believe it was around the mid-episodes, there was this one where a kid was trying to protect his turtle, and they had a dream sequence towards the end where he was being chased by a girl on a rocket. Don't ask, it's Ultra Q, it's weird.
Yeah.
And that rocket turns into the kaiju we know as the Kai Dragon. And the Kai Dragon was an old suit that was made from another kaiju from a different movie called Manda. And you can see, the things are cobbled together. But when we say, things are kit bashed or maybe, they were repurposed, there's so much work that goes into that. And the Kai Dragon only appeared on screen for literally, 10 seconds out of the whole 20 minutes of the episode. The effect you see going through there, it is so beautiful to see. And then when the Kai Dragon shoots out lightning bolts out of its mouth, but it's super cheesy and it's 2D art or something, and it like hits the giant turtle that the boy's riding on. It's just super funny. It's super cute, and you can literally see the strings pulling up the Kai Dragon's head. You can see it. It's a black lion moving around with it, and it's gorgeous. I love that stuff. It is corny, but that's like the point of it. It's supposed to be a little cheesy. You're supposed to have fun with it. And even when it's super serious with something like Godzilla, it's still really cool to see the work and the love and the care that goes into making these suits. And of course, we all know the thing where Godzilla's suit actor can only wear the suit for so long or else he'd have a heat stroke. But you can see the passion that even a suit actor would have. You can see that in Kamen Rider today, and how much Seiji Takaiwa loved his work and putting all these stunts and performances on there. So,
yeah,
guys, I just love Toku. You know, what would you be interested in watching? Like right meow.
I keep saying in the back of my head, like I really should watch Ultraman because I've never really dabbled into it. I've always felt like it wasn't my thing, but like. I always see like little bits and clips and everything, the effects and everything, all the sets and everything. The suits look really good. It's just that I just don't have the time for it. I really would like to watch stuff like that. Oh, and like Ultra Q, I really would like to dabble into that.
And the good thing about both Ultra Q and Ultraman is that they're pretty short, like lengthwise. Ultraman has around 38. And it's not like a 50-episode season like how Ultra 7 would be. Like that was like 50 episodes, but like it's still like incredible like the way that these seasons like encompass all of these stories. And oh man, it's like a very, very like interesting thing the way that these like seasons go out. Textually, the sci-fi and stuff is just like the way that they add so many stories to tell, and it's just really cool.
I can still go back and love the practical effects, but I can also love the storytelling of today. One thing I really wanted to touch up on, or at least very briefly, is that old Toku doesn't have the storytelling there is today. It's a lot more formulaic. It's a lot more episodic. And whenever I talk about like history of Kamen Rider or history of Super Sentai, I say, oh, this is episodic. Oh no, Showa was episodic. That was like the definition of like monster of the week, kid of the week, civilian of the week. That's where it all began, and it is a bit rough, I will admit, but still I can watch past that and appreciate the character of like Takeshi Hongo saving someone, or Tachibana helping him out, or a monster trying to cause bad because he's evil. I can still enjoy that, and the action is worth it. For example, there was this episode, I think it was Stronger or X, where he like went all the way up to the top of this ginormous building, and he's there just to like he's literally standing there and saying, I am Kamen Rider, and then the next shot is him like down on the ground. Someone had to climb all the way up there. I'm pretty sure it was Stronger.
Yeah,
someone had to climb all the way up those steps, stand there for like 5 minutes, and then climb all the way down. And it's just really funny to think about that, but it's really cool to see on screen. And that's what I love. And Showa, they just do whatever the heck they want. Amazons comes to mind, Ultra 7 comes to mind, and that they were violent. But hey, it was a different time. Let's go ahead and do it.
Was it Taro where the kaiju would get like dismembered?
Oh, yeah. That's Ace. That's Ace, where he just Ace. Like he just has 1,000,001 ways of like cutting up monsters, and it's like sickening. So, for the next season over, like Ultraman Taro, they had to like make it kiddier or like
tone it down.
Yeah, tone down everything, and also like have more of a childlike element to it, I guess. I noticed that both Tokyo Story and Godzilla are both like they're about the industrialization of Japan and really the Americanization of it, because not only is Godzilla an allegory for the atomic bomb, but it's like Godzilla is also like rampaging through these very, very Western looking buildings and such, and showing like the catastrophe that these sort of Western concepts that are basically being forced upon Japan. Tokyo Story takes it a little bit like further, like with the human element to it by just having this family kind of like ripped apart by commercialization and stuff, and it's really, really cool to see, despite being so different in genres and the way that they portray their themes, still have the same themes, and it's like really, really cool.
I really like in Godzilla how like it's always subtle that like Godzilla is man-made. They could portray it well.
Sometimes they outright say that he's made from like a fish or an old T-Rex or something.
Yeah, there's some films that have him like evolved from like an old made-up dinosaur.
But other times I do get it that it was subtle. Even if you're not into that, you can still enjoy big monster destroy mountain or big monster fight other big monster, and it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then that's sort of like the toyetic appeal to Godzilla that happens like way later on. King Kong versus Godzilla was like the tipping point in which Godzilla is now its own franchise, and it's like
it's on a roll. It's not going to stop.
Yeah.
It's on a roll, and Godzilla, despite being an enemy to mankind in the first movie, is now like a savior, and he fights off aliens and stuff. Yeah.
You got Jet Jaguar in here.
Yeah, Jet Jaguar, our own personal Ultraman.
Yeah, the stories that evolve all the way from older Toku, it's definitely a thing to love also. Godzilla is probably the biggest example, but even the story of Ichigo versus Shocker can be felt today in that, well, it's the most classic hero versus villain story, but Showa writers had like this this like how should I say, tone to them that could be felt. They had this heart that can still be seen in Kamen Rider today, and when you see Ichigo appear again in like the O's season or in Ghost during his own movies, you can see a lot of that heart still there. And the hero versus villain story is always going to be a thing, but Kamen Rider does it uniquely, and even Ultraman does that too. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's the way that they just project themselves out as like this character that you should look up to.
Yeah.
Just that's what like makes them.
If we want to switch over to Sentai real quickly, Go Ranger had a lot of these themes and motifs of teamwork, maybe even a little bit of friendship that goes today. And Sentai is targeted towards kids too, and that kids can still enjoy the teamwork that comes through Super Sentai, or the heroism and growing up that they get from Kamen Rider, or in Ultraman where they learn to be, hey, we may be different, but it's okay. We'll still protect humanity. And that's how the Ultramen always were.
Yeah, what I like really like about Go Ranger in particular is like the whole inception of Go Ranger is that like a team of like army specialists and stuff like are whittled down to like to just 5 members. They're like limited in number. They're still like standing their ground against like the bigger bad, and it's just like really cool like that. The sense of unity there is really, really good.
This makes me want to watch like Sentai again. We got a comment earlier asking where would I start with Ultraman? Modern Ultraman is a good way to start because especially now they can kind of project that old Showa-ness to it. Ultraman Taiga kind of has that. Ultraman X is probably the easiest thing to get into because there's no overarching story. It's episodic, but you can still see the themes of Ultraman going through it. The teamwork along with this giant savior from space going through that. The original Ultraman was pretty much about that too, with the science team going along with Ultraman, the giant savior from space, against these enemy monsters. And if you want to go with Ultraman, I think X would be a good start. Orb is another good one. Again, I'm not that knowledgeable into Ultraman. I've seen pretty much just the newer stuff along with like Tiga and Neos and stuff, so I probably might not be the best person. Liz, do you have any recommendations?
Honestly, I think Tiga. Like, I really appreciate Tiga or Gaia. Tiga or Gaia, like, have, like, these long, overarching stories with, like, really cool, like, characterization, and this is like the like tipping off point between Showa and Heisei Tokusatsu, like completely. It's like Tiga. It's not. It hasn't been stated enough just how Tiga kind of like reinvented Tokusatsu with its like long overarching plots, and like same with like Die Ranger at the time too, where it's like having all these like these serious plot points just coming together in like one whole story, and just the thing with the Giants of Light thing, like it's just really cool. Like, and I think like Tiga I just feel like Tiga, like for people who are used to the same kind of like thematics that go into modern day Kamen Rider would love Tiga.
I agree with that. I liked Tiga when I watched it. Even the 4Kids version I thought was pretty okay. But yeah, I would recommend Tiga and X. Would you be interested in Ultraman? Like what's grabbing you? What's stopping you aside from time?
Honestly, well, obviously, when I watch clips of it, I'm not going to get much story. It's mostly just going to be like videos of like fight. I've always loved giant kaiju fights and such. I'm only watching it for the fights, and that's not the case. I want to see good characters. I want to see good story. I really want to embrace this like love for Toku with Ultraman.
That brings me back to X, in that when I watched it, I thought it was a lot of fun. When I went back to thinking about it for my review, I thought it's okay. But coming back to this hindsight of like, you know what? X wasn't that bad. Especially if I want to introduce someone to Ultraman or Tokusatsu as a whole. The fights are phenomenal. Old Ultraman have great fights too. It's very physical. It feels like a giant fight. 2000s Ultraman shows or movies had that great fight. Ultraman battles have always been good. So at least, no matter what Ultraman you choose, you'll at least be comfortable knowing that the action will always be very, very top notch. Subaraya has a love for these giant fights with Ultraman.
Lots of old like Toku have like really like raw like choreography. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
Like it's really you can sense the impact, and it's like you have to give like lots and lots of credit to these suit actors.
Yeah, definitely.
What I really appreciate about the Ultraman in particular is that Bin Furuya, the way that he suit acted Ultraman was mostly like wrestling and grappling in the very early episodes.
Yeah, like pro wrestling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But as the show goes on, it's like he enforces more martial arts into his fighting, and it's like really cool to see the progression of that.
We got another question. Really cool. The Undying Nightmare Jr. asked, does anyone have a recommendation for what Sentai I should watch first? Whenever it comes to Toku recommendations, the most obvious choice is go with whatever looks cool to you. That's what I say. Even with Ultraman, you can go with whatever looks cool to you, but X would be the easiest to get into. Kamen Rider, go with whatever looks the coolest to you, but Double O's Forza would be the easiest to get into. Sentai, go with whatever looks coolest to you. But the easiest that I could recommend, and honestly depends, like, are you into the older, or are you into the older aesthetics of classic Sentai, or do you want to watch something more modern? Or do you want to watch the most recent season, because it's still ongoing? When it comes to classic Sentai, I'm not sure how controversial opinion this is, since technically it's still Heisei Sentai, but if you want a dash of older classic Sentai charm, Die Ranger's a good one. Jetman has some great stories and characters. Bioman is one I love, and I can't stop talking about it. Live Man's a really fun one. Changeman's great, but again, I can't really go deep into each season other than saying go with whatever looks coolest to you. You'll always have a lot of fun with them. Even the shows I don't like, I can still say I'm pretty sure you'll have fun with it. Go Sager, Gal Ranger, classic Sentai. Go Ranger is still a pretty fun one. To this day, I still think it's really, really fun.
More modern, like maybe like Go Busters or something. Ooh. Or maybe like Tokyuger. Mm-hmm. Maybe even Q Ranger, you know.
I don't know, I'm mostly like the same way, like just go with whatever's coolest to you. Like, but just go with, like, in my opinions, the ones that the biographies, like the short like descriptions of each shows, and just try to like latch onto one because chances are that's probably your like would be your favorite Sentai and stuff, in my opinion.
Oh, I've been wanting to make a video, or at least the Toku Janaito, on Tokusatsu recommendations, so that way we can delve more deep into them. But the most common question I get, aside from where can I watch these, is what do I watch? And recommending something is one of the most difficult things that I can think of answering, because there's just so much, 40 years of Sentai, 40 years of Kamen Rider, years of Metal Heroes, years of Godzilla, years of Toku we haven't even heard of. And it's still hard to even pinpoint one specific season what someone would want to watch, but I guess we'll get into it.
It all comes down to like taste.
Yeah.
Toku is either you're having fun watching it or you're just into it, like you're like deep into Toku for like story and like characters.
Mm-hmm. I'll always appreciate Toku, whether it's the Showa era, Heisei era, or now Reiwa era. I'll always appreciate the countless hours that goes into like 10 minutes of footage. I'll always love the action, the story, the characters. I'll always love Toku. So whenever it comes to classic Toku, all I can say is that, hey, if it's not your thing, I can understand. It is old. It is a different era. But I hope you can at least think about, hey, it looks cool. Hey, a lot of work into this. I appreciate it. Because I'm a Heisei guy. I love the Heisei era. But I can appreciate the work that goes into putting on the 100-pound Godzilla suit. I can appreciate the work that goes into getting Garaman's suit even made in the first place. The miniatures, the action, even the formulaic storytelling, I don't mind. I'll even watch it. I even sit down to watch it at times. So I love Toku. I love Heisei. I'll always appreciate Showa.
Hi. My name is Liz. I think you should watch Kyodyne, Robo Detective K, on, as well as the Metal Heroes on Toei Tokusatsu World. I want the Hibiki Kurenai figure arts, and that's all I have to say.
I personally think that Showa is just as intriguing as any other modern Tokusatsu. My mind says, oh, modern means more relatable, more like you can get the sense of like, oh, you're living in that time, so it's like, oh, okay.
Alright, so with all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed Toku Janaito, and we'll see you again next time.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Emmer, Jason, oh my gosh, Liz, how dare you.